All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Klein, and I serve as the project director for the Take Heart initiative. In today's session, we are going to be covering understanding your workflow processes to prepare for systems change. On behalf of our full team, I want to welcome you to today's session and hope everybody had a nice, happy new year and is ready to dig back in and get started. As we move on to the next slide, just a quick reminder that today's presentation, in case you had a really good break, is the third in a series of 10 training modules. So all of the Take Heart training modules are guided by the roadmap that's been established by the Million Hearts Cardiac Rehabilitation Change Package, or the CRCP, which is located within the Resource Center of the Take Heart website. So our format for the training sessions includes 3 pieces. The first piece is a subject matter expert presentation, and we include discussion using the chat and polling features, which Steve will remind you how to use here in just a second. And our hope is that this really allows you to interact with the experts and dialogue with other participants during the session. The second piece is in a follow-up email after today's session. You'll receive written guidance materials in the form of an implementation guide. And the purpose of this guide is to reinforce and supplement the material that's in the presentation. And then the third piece is technical assistance. So TA will follow next week with your peer action groups, where you'll discuss the concepts that were presented today. And the idea is that it'll allow you that forum to provide updates on your progress, on your successes, your challenges with implementation. At any time throughout, please remember that you can reach out to your coaches between meetings for any questions or any concerns. So really excited to get started back up again in the new year. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and pass it over to Steve Hines, who will serve as our moderator for today's discussion.
All right, thank you very much and welcome everyone. We really want these to be interactive events where you can be commenting, sharing, and the way to do that is using the chat function. So you need to open that chat box. It should be very easy. Make sure that you set the to field to everyone. That will let your peers see your comments as well as all of us panelists. And Dr. Hisham Scali, who's the principal investigator on the Take Heart project, and a cardiologist at Mass General Brigham in Boston, is on and monitoring the chats, along with Melody Collins, who's a partner hospital representative from Marion Hospital in Marion, Indiana. And they both are going to participate in the discussion at the end of the session, but are also going to be, monitoring the chat comments as well as the rest of us. So by all means, do that. Take a second now and share anything that you're hoping to get out of today's session, and we'll take that into account. Just as a reminder, to succeed in Take Heart requires that you really buy into the value of automatic referral and care coordination, and that's what was covered in modules 1 and 2. And then it also involves understanding how your patient referral and care coordination processes work, since if you don't understand them, you really can't identify challenges or fix them. And that's the focus of today. And then once we address the workflow issues today, we'll talk about data in module 4, and then the rest of the sessions will focus on improving automatic referral in 5 and 7, care coordination in 6, 8, and 9, and then the last module will talk about alternative approaches to cardiac rehab, specifically remote or home-based cardiac rehab. So that's where we're headed. You can get CEU credits for participating today, and we are working with AHRQ to do that, and you'll get information on how to apply for those credits after the event in the email that we circulate. As far as today's learning goals, after today, we want you to understand the importance of mapping key processes and identifying process failures. It's a very useful skill that will have relevance far beyond this project. And then we want to talk about how you can map your current workflow processes for cardiac referral, enrollment, participation, completion, and even some of the processes related to your automatic referral may be worth your program mapping. And then third, we want you to understand how to identify implementation gaps and process failures that you're going to want to work on and fix, because that's where the concepts of process mapping translate into the real world of supporting patients in a very challenging environment. So those are the goals for today's session. And I'm delighted that you're going to be listening to two prominent experts in this field. Stephen Katayan is the Director of Preventative Cardiology of that unit at Henry Ford Hospital in Michigan. And then Mackenzie Peckman is the Cardiopulmonary Rehab Team Lead and a clinical exercise physiologist at Asperis Wausau Hospital in Wisconsin. So having said that, we're going to enter the time where we'll be listening to the two of them in a pre-recorded way. But during this time, by all means, enter chat comments, questions that you have. And after we hear from the two of them, we will open the floor up for a discussion section and for Melody and Hisham to share some additional comments towards the end. All right, thank you very much. And thanks all of you for your participation. I'm sorry, a couple of you had some minor technical glitches at the start, but we're glad that you were able to sort through those. As I noted in the chat, the slides that we're showing on the screen are very closely related to the training module slides that are available on the Take Heart website, which you're free to download at any time to listen to look at. And if it's easier to see the full screen slides, you can certainly download those before during the events and and listen to them. So having said that, we want to encourage you to put into the chat one, if you want to put more, that's great. But if you can just tell us one insight that you're coming out of the training today, thinking about something that made you think, oh, that's going to be really helpful for us to do, or that's a different way than I would have done this, and I can see why that's better. Or now I see why it's important to do X or Y. So if you can share some of those insights into the chat, that would be great. And if you have questions that have surfaced as you're listening to the panelists share, including those would be great as well. But I want to now turn to Melody Collins, who's from Marion Hospital, Marion, Indiana. And Melody, can you just kind of reflect on what you've heard and how that compares with the activities that you've done at your facility in order to map your processes, and perhaps share a bit about how that process really helped you to better serve the needs of your patients?
Sure. Thank you for having me on today. We first had to get buy-in of who we felt were the most important stakeholders in this. And I think that was key to making this successful for our hospital and facility, was getting the key stakeholders involved in this, so that when we sat down as a group to map, that we had all those important people there, such as our provider, our therapist, our exercise specialist, and the nurse, and IT was very important to our group as well. And so that when we sat down together to do that we were all there together. We used the sticky note process with a blank wall, and made it as fun of a process as we could. Some of you may run into obstacles, such as, disagreements on how a process works, but you can use those disagreements to maybe you have to map both of those processes and put it out there. So what we did once we got all those sticky notes put together is I brought them back and put them on an Excel spreadsheet, and then sent them back out to our group to be tweaked from there. And we worked on that process. We've had great success at our facility with this process.
Or things that are surfacing in the chat that you want to respond to, or react to in some way?
Hi, Steve, this is Hisham. So I see some of the comments in the chat box, and those are quite helpful, such as we discussed before, and we're going to have, I think, another module for that, about getting into the numbers in your data and figuring out the number of people who are eligible and referred, and how you track that. So data tracking is extremely important, but as we just saw in this module here, laying out a process flow and how to improve that is extremely important, and using all the tips that we've heard is quite useful. So I see people have actually noticed some of the things we mentioned. change in the verbiage, ask the patient to map their journey. These are good tips to continue to share and keep in mind.
And Melody, there were some reactions to the discussion about some of the strategies for reducing dropouts and understanding the processes related to that. Did you have any insights that affected your ability to reduce the number of dropouts as you did your process mapping?
Well, some of the things that we found were barriers with transportation, for example, maybe even not even be able to start, which we have coordinated a couple of our bus services in the county to coordinate with our classes. That was one thing that we did. We have a big fishbone list that we had, and we've been trying to work quarterly on one of those problems. We call them key process points, and one of those was transportation. Something else that we do is some of these folks have to go back to work and maybe cannot participate. So we work with those folks on maybe giving them access to videos or some sort of paper tips, diet tips, those sorts of things that we have to do. But like I said, we're still in the process, but we are taking each of those problems and addressing them. I think to one of the points that Mackenzie had in the video, we almost have a commercial that we've come up with on encouraging our patients for cardiac rehab. And it's funny to see how well the doctors are versed in you're going to get a referral for cardiac rehab. The other thing that's, I think, very important, I saw a note there about Epic, is if you can coordinate their cardiology visit. It happens that our cardiac rehab is in the same building as the cardiology group. If you can coordinate their cardiology visit with their first rehab session or that screening session, that's really nice too. Or at least have a representative that can meet them on that same day.
Yeah, thanks. And I think one of the things that Melody is illustrating is a really important one, and that is when you do process mapping, you're not going to come up with one thing you realize you need to work on. You're going to come up with a pretty good list, and the better you do at your process mapping, the more you're going to surface things that you're going to say, whoa, we really need to work on this or work on that. If you just look at that and you say, this is impossible, we can't possibly do all of these things, you can get bogged down, discouraged, and none of those things are good. On the other hand, if you just decide, all right, what are the first couple things that we want to pick off and work on them, and then gradually work down your list over time, that's a way to avoid overwhelming your team. And times are tough, and it's not that hard to do that right now. So taking it, figuring out the things that you need to do and then working at it incrementally. Each thing you improve is going to make things better, and sometimes making it better every day for an extended period is better than trying to fix everything at once, because that rarely works well. Thanks very much for the comments in the chat. We are sensitive to time, and as we wrap up, let me just remind you, we want you to get started with the mapping processes with the people on your team. Try to include patients in that if at all you can. And then as you think about the things that you need to do next, incorporate those into your action plan. We do want to encourage you to take a look at and really try to leverage the Module 3 implementation guide. You all should have received that or be receiving that, and those also are available on the Take Heart website. And then we want to remind you, we've got the peer action groups, and those are all scheduled for next week. Just as a reminder, there are options to go to a peer action group that are available on 2 separate days next week, next Tuesday and Wednesday at 11 and next Thursday at 4. All of those are Eastern time. And I think that Teresa Rada has just put in the link. So if you want to sign up for one of those sessions, you can go to that link there. That's a chance where you can ask questions. scratch your head a little bit, think through the things that you've heard today, and then you can come to ask questions and discuss those things in your peer action group next week. And if you're in one of the Bryan facilities, your time for your peer action group is a little bit different. But next up is Module 4 on February 9th. So you'll be out of the worst of winter by then, and we encourage you to register for that event. And focusing on data, it came up today. It's a really central thing, and we look forward to really getting into that topic next module, Module 4, February 9th from 2 to 3 Eastern Time. And in advance of that, you should have access to the data planning tool, or we'll be sending that out to you, and we encourage you to take a look at that as well. Get started thinking about your data and what you have and what you may need to work on acquiring. So thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Thank you very much for the hard work that you and your facilities are doing every day, supporting your cardiac rehab patients and really just supporting your communities in a time when illness and hospitalizations are extremely high. So thank you very much for that. We hope you have a great rest of the day, and we look forward to talking to you again on February 9th.